Coming up on Colonial Sports Center, we're going to talk a little bit about men's soccer here tonight.
Of course, Greg, and then we got football. They did their homecoming weekend this past weekend. Touched on there by Elijah Jackson.
We also have a lot of volleyball to talk about tonight, as they had 3 games over the homecoming weekend.
That's right here on Colonial Sports Center.
Welcome to this week's installment of Colonial Sports Center. As always, I'm your host, Greg Sutton. Alongside me this week, Logan Carney.
Thanks for having me, Greg. It's great to be back for another week.
And Logan, we have a buffet of sports, as we've seen in the opener there. We have a buffet of things to talk about tonight.
That's right. We got men's soccer and women's soccer, men's and women's hockey, football, and of course volleyball.
Absolutely. Not only do we have a lot of sports to talk about, we have a couple people in studio with us tonight to talk about a couple different things as well.
That's right. You're of course going to be sitting down with Zach Sherman, and I'm going to be sitting down with Matthew Simkovic Jr. and Tyler Gallows. They give their buy or sell on the hockey teams.
Absolutely. And let's just jump right into this past weekend with the homecoming football game. The Robert Morris Colonials haven't had quite the start they've wanted to their conference play, and they had this homecoming and a big home fan base to jump into the winning thing that they wanted against Central Connecticut State University. And let's jump over to the Joe to see how the Colonials could do. All right, first thing we're going to see here is a touchdown by number 12, Tim Vecchio, who had a pretty amazing season so far. Next, we're going to get to see the Colonials kind of driving through Elijah Jackson, who had 124 yards on the season as a redshirt freshman, his season high and his career high so far. And next, we're going to get to see Jimmy Walker here, a tight spiral to Matthew Gonzalez in the middle of the end zone, basically uncovered. Another touchdown for Robert Morris. Robert Morris really clicking here in the early starts of the day. Touchdown, Enos Walker for Central Connecticut State. Now into the third quarter, things here, they're still kind of tight at this point. Robert Morris is still trying to fight back. Elijah Jackson will break through the middle of the line and for 35 yards, longest rushing touchdown of the season, and once again, his new career high. And now, next we're going to get to see a forced fumble here by Daryl Mason, and it's just an amazing show by the defense. Robert Morris finally getting the defense down a little bit, starting to click on both offense and defense, but the Colonials would eventually fall to the Blue Devils 56-35. And Logan, now we're going to see here the series of unfortunate defense. So far this year, the defense hasn't been quite for what they want to be. In the FCS and points allowed per game, they were ranked 120 and 124. It's not going so well right now for them, and they are last in every possible statistic for the NEC.
Right, the Robert Morris volleyball team at NEC had a rough one that showed no mercy so far. The Colonials have gone winless in their first 3 matches, but they were looking to find the road to victory against St. Francis Brooklyn at home in Moon Township in front of the alumni in town for homecoming. Yes, it was homecoming weekend at volleyball, and the RMU volleyball team had a whiteout during their game against St. Francis Brooklyn. And here we have a diving dig to save it before setting up for the Taylor Lord spike to put the Colonials ahead 12-10 in the first set. Here it is again, the set for Lord as she gets a big spike there to keep the Colonials ahead. Now we move on to the second set. Colonials won set 1, 25-20, and Emma Granger aces to keep the Colonials the lead. We have a little bit of a back and forth before another spike puts the Colonials up even more. That one was Allison Londot, which gives the Colonial Robert Morris the wins in set 2 right here. On to set 4 after the Colonials lost set 3. We're going to see one hit to give the Colonials another set win as they win 3-1. Of course, Colonials win 3-1. Taylor Lord 16 kills in the match.
And after their first NEC victory on Friday, the Colonials look to stay on track with their next 2 matchups against LIU Brooklyn on Saturday and then on the road at Duquesne University on Tuesday. Could the Colonials come out of the weekend at 500 in conference play? We're going to have to find out. The Colonials dropped their match against LIU Brooklyn Blackbirds 3-1 despite scoring 10 more points than the Blackboards this past Saturday. Emma Granger tried to help the Colonials steer back on track to victory with her 15 kills, 2 aces, and 4 blocks. But the Colonials' 33 errors in the match led to their downfall. The Colonials also lost to the Dukes of Duquesne on Tuesday in a clean sweep in 3 sets in downtown Pittsburgh. The first 2 sets were both hard fought, but the Dukes proved too much for the Colonials. Freshman Alyssa Hudak had 8 kills, and Whitney Brown had 36 assists and 2 aces in the shutout loss in the A.J. Palumbo Center.
After winning their first NEC game, the women's soccer team fell in their next two against Central Connecticut State and Fairleigh Dickinson. This led into their game against Mount St. Mary's, who they played last Friday. Let's see how the Colonials fared against the Mountaineers. Women's soccer teams, the only teams to not have a home game last week, as they were in Emmitsburg, Maryland, again taking on the Mountaineers. Here we are 27 minutes in the first, and the Colonials score, but it's going to be called back due to offsides. The shot here from Mount St. Mary's is going to be saved by Julia Schmid. Schmid having 17 saves, a career high for her in the contest. As we move on to the second half, Maddie Chu is going to shoot into the chest of Schmid right here and then get the rebound and score, giving Mount St. Mary's a 1-0 lead. That was her third goal of the season. A shot here by those going to followed by a great save by Maggie Barron. She had 4 saves. And on the next goal, we're going to see another shot attempt, and this one is going to be scored by Jalen Chandler on this corner kick, my apologies. Jalen Chandler with the goal to put Mount St. Mary's 2-0 ahead and towards the end of the game, giving them the victory over the Colonials.
The Robert Morris Men's Soccer Club took on the St. Francis of Brooklyn Terriers at home last Sunday and were looking to win their second straight conference game and seize that first back-to-back win of the season. But would the Colonials be able to leash the Terriers to claim this important victory? And now we're going to jump right into the highlights here. Colonials Terriers on this past Sunday. Colonials working hard down there in the corner. Logan, great passing here, right to the middle of the pitch. But that one's going to sail over the net, off the top of the net there, and out of play. A tough break there. It's still tied at 0-0 there in the first half. Now we're jumping to the second half of play, where things get really exciting here. St. Francis of Brooklyn tries the same thing, but the same offense. It almost looks like there's a gust of wind blowing up in front of the net, keeping everything out of the way.
Yes, it does, Greg. Right indeed. A gust of wind indeed.
And then a big save here by Andrea Lubia for St. Francis of Brooklyn to keep the game tied and give them a chance. But here we're going to see Zach Sherman, who's in studio tonight, with a big goal here to put the Colonials up. He'll slip a little bit there in his celebration, but you can see the excitement in his face as he finds the camera. He gives them the, oh my goodness, I scored look. But he's super excited because that was the goal that would put the Colonials over St. Francis of Brooklyn 1-0. And I'll get to sit down with Zach Sherman here in a couple minutes, Logan.
Of course, Zach Sherman, a great goal celebration, by the way. I mean, you got to tell Zach I said that. Of course, you can probably hear me over there, but great goal celebration by them, waving goodbye to the camera and a goodbye to the highlight. And of course, you're going to sit down with Zach Sherman. I'm going to be sitting down with a couple people after the commercial break as well.
And later on the show, Malik Johnson gets to sit down with mini documentary maker Trevor Young, and you're not going to want to miss any of it here on Colonial Sports Center.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
Break. I'm now sitting down with Robert Morris Colonial, Zach Sherman. Zach, thanks for joining us tonight.
Yeah, no problem.
So we've seen that great goal celebration before the break there. What fueled that?
You know, a lot of us, like, we play FIFA or we're watching games on TV, and everybody's trying to copy things. You always see people running to the camera and celebrating that way, and the camera happened to be there. So I just kind of took advantage of that. But it was a shame that I slipped, but I think it kind of adds to it anyway.
I think it adds to it a lot, especially in that slow-mo there. It kind of just shows how excited you were for the goal.
Yeah.
But so earlier in the season, things weren't quite going your guys' way. What changed going into conference play there?
Well, I think a lot of it was that we had, you know, 4 or 5 or 6 guys that hadn't really started together yet. So when over half your team hasn't really had any experience, it's kind of hard to execute what you want to do. So it was great having all the games before conference play, and we got it tuned up and ready to go. So I think we're looking good going forward right now.
Did Coach Denniston say anything during that I would say dry spell there early in the season to kind of switch what's going on?
We held the same type of plan, but again, he reiterated that it takes a while when you have a bunch of guys to get together and form, you know, a team, especially when you're coming in with, you know, 5, 6 new guys that are starting on the field every Friday or Sunday. So I think it just took us a little bit of time. And
so right now, you and your squad are currently tied for 3rd in the NAC right now. Right. Do you think that chemistry building is really contributing to that factor?
Yeah, of course. I think it definitely has. And going forward, I think we're in a lot better of a position chemistry-wise and team-wise than we were in the beginning of the season. And I think that's a big reason why we're doing well now.
And right now, you lead the team in points right now, both in goals and total points overall. What's contributing to that success on your part?
I think it's just, for me, just kind of sticking with what I know how to do. I just try to get in behind the defense, and the fact that our defense has been strong the last couple of games, it's really opened up the field and let, you know, the forwards like me take shots on the opposing net. And so far this season, I've been pretty lucky, so I'm hoping I can keep that going.
And so you're also, I don't know if you know this or not, but you're also right now, you're 2nd in the NEC for total points. How does that feel?
I didn't know that before I read the paper for this interview, but I mean, it feels pretty good. You know, we have a pretty competitive conference, so I'm obviously pretty excited to be up on that list, but right now I'm just focused on, you know, every one game at a time and hoping that we prepare correctly and next game goes well.
So you've had the chance to play with a lot of great players such as Bailey Winkle. In your freshman year, you got to play with Nico Brett. How did Bailey and Nico both combine to help you to be the player that you are today?
I think it was huge to have players like that in front of me coming in, because when you're coming to college, you don't really know what the level's going to be like, what players are, you know, what D1 college is all about, like the speed, things like that. And I think both of them learned a lot of just how to be a forward at Robert Morris. You know, Nico's with the Riverhounds right now, and he's doing great. So we try to stay, you know, abreast of what's going on with him, and he's doing great, and that's awesome. We love going to see him watch. Bailey comes by and trains with us sometimes, so it's good to see him as well. And yeah, I think all of us learn from each other, and that's a big thing when you're on a team.
All right, hey, we really appreciate you coming in, Zach. Good luck in the rest of the season, the rest of your senior year. But right now, we're going to jump back over to the desk to Logan Carney.
Thanks, Greg, and thanks, Zach. Now, the women's hockey team traveled to the #1 team in the country in Clarkson this past weekend at Potsdam, New York. The Colonials came into this after splitting with St. Lawrence, who finished last season as the 9th best team in the country. Let's dive into highlights from this past weekend. Women's hockey against Clarkson starts with a great save by Lauren Bailey, her first of 23 on the night. A couple minutes later, the Colonials took the lead on a goal by Amber Rennie. I apologize for the technical difficulties. Here's the Clarkson highlights. There's a little bit of technical difficulties, but we will endure in the women's hockey against Clarkson. Starts with a great save by Lauren Bailey, as you already heard me mention, but we're going to be a couple minutes later. The Colonials are going to take the lead on a goal by Amber Rennie. on a power play. That goal by Rennie was her first of the season. So we move on to the second period. And there was a battle in front of the net that does not result in a goal for Clarkson. Again, 23 goals saves on the night for Lauren Bailey. Here, though, a slap shot by Lauren Gable finds its way into the net to make it 2-1 for the #1 team in the country. Third period now, Clarkson up 3-1. Colonials score to pull within one, but Clarkson will get 2 more as the game goes on. But we'll see the Robert Morris goal first, and here's that Clarkson goal to make it 4-2, and that will put that dapper on things for the Colonials. Now, after that first game, the two teams met again the next day. But this one, though, the Golden Knights 4-3. The Colonials fell again to Clarkson by the score of 4-3. And Kirsten Welsh, Angelica Difficult, and JC Gebhardt, who was also big in faceoffs, she won 22 in the contest. The Colonials were only outshot 25-23 in the game, and it was the first time in the young season that they have been outshot. The Colonials had 4 power plays, though, and were only able to generate 2 total shots off of them. And the big reason they outshot Clarkson was a big second period in which RMU had 10 shots in the period.
The men's hockey team hit the ice for the first time of the season against the Brock University Badgers down on Neville Island in Colonials Arena. With the loss of so much talent from last year, such as Brady Ferguson, this would be the Colonials' first chance to prove to everyone that they will still perform as a high-caliber team in this upcoming season. And let's just jump right into the action here. Brock versus RMU, and here we can see a quick first goal by Nick Perkusic and put the Colonials up 1-0. Here we're going to see Perkusic move right into the slot. Big shot there to beat the Brock goaltender. Next, we're going to get to see a lot of good puck movement here. Good handle, good shot by Justin Adamo. The first goal of his collegiate play, the player from France. Next, we're going to see Nick Perkusic once again moving around the net, getting his work in, making it pay off. Nick Perkusic scoring his second of the night and just absolutely kind of putting the team a little bit on his back there and scoring the goal. All right, and then we get to see it again. A great shot. He goes far side on the goalie. We'll jump into the second period here. We're going to see the Colonials moving the puck. Shot, goal, and another goal here by Alex Tonge. And we're going to get to see the Colonials eventually end up defeating the Brock Badgers by a tally of 4-1. And now we're going to jump right over to Logan Carney, Tyler Gallo, and Matthew Simcoe.
Thanks, Greg. Now, as you said, I am here with RMU Century Media hockey writers Matthew Simkovic Jr. and Tyler Gallo, who are going to give us a quick buy and sell on the hockey team this year. Now, guys, we saw a highlight from the women's hockey team. They've had a tough schedule so far. They took on the #1 team in the country, took on the #9 team from last year. So, my question is to you: do you buy or sell them to win the conference?
I buy it. I mean, they really kept up against Clarkson, who is #1 team in the nation, and they held their ground, obviously, so I buy that.
Yeah, I would definitely buy that. The fact that they lost only to 1 goal to the #1 team in the country was absolutely incredible to see them. I mean, they're repeat conference champions, so we've seen it before. I would not be shocked if they were able to do it again at all.
And how about the men's team, though? Do you guys buy or sell that they are a top 3 team in their conference?
I buy it. Again, they looked really good against Brock in that exhibition game, and if they can come out strong in this weekend for their games, I think they can get started.
Yeah, I mean, even looking back, so for the past 4 years, they've made it to the conference tournament. So them being a top 3 team isn't up for debate. It's just a matter of if they can get that extra step and win the conference. That, I'm going to have to buy that.
Now, Matt, I'm going to start with you on this one. Now, you both said that you said that they can win. You said they can finish top 3. Do you think both teams go to Buffalo?
That's a little bit of a stretch for me on that one. I'm not going to sell it and say that it's far off, but I'm not fully going to buy it just because I haven't seen both teams play hockey that can get them to Buffalo just yet at this point in the season.
How about you, Ty? You think they're talking proud in Buffalo?
I agree with Matt on that one. There hasn't really been enough of a sample size to see where they're going to go yet, but I think they look good, and we'll see how the season goes.
Now, do you think Luke Lynch leads the men's team in points, buy or sell?
I buy that for sure. As a prediction, it's not too far-fetched. He was an offensive powerhouse last season, and obviously his brother up until last year with Brady Ferguson held the all-time point record. The Lynch name and offensive points at RMU go together. I'm buying that one for sure.
I'm going to have to sell that one. I think either Tondra or Perkusic's going to lead. I mean, Perkusic leads right now, but we'll see how it goes.
Well, guys, thank you both for joining us. It's been a pleasure, really. And be sure to check out everything that they write about the hockey's team on RMUcentralmedia.com. We're going to throw to a quick commercial break, but don't go anywhere.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars.
Wow.
But now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
You want to retire like a champ? Just like legendary basketball star Uncle Drew? Don't do it like that, Uncle Drew! You're already acing the game. You've got your dream ride.
Don't be slamming my door.
Sorry about that.
You just did the same. Gotta get the boys.
Your dream vacation and your dream team. And now you can make your retirement just as legendary.
I get buckets.
Get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
I came from 5 generations of teachers. Losing my job was the bottom falling out of my world.
Welcome back.
Hello and welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. My name is Malik Johnson. I'm here with Sam Anthony, the producer of Joe Walton documentary. How are you, Sam?
I'm good. How are you? Thanks for having me.
Great. So, what inspired you to do a documentary about the first coach of Robert Morris?
Well, you know, it's interesting because, you know, it's a new coach here at Robert Morris University. You've got Joe Walton, Bernard Clark, rather, coming in, and, you know, this team struggled as of recently. And with all this stuff going on, this new regime, you know, you start to think about the last time Robert Morris was good, and being here for 4 years, you know, I kind of wanted to do a big project to end it all, and we ended up stumbling upon some old Robert Morris footage back from that 2000 team that went undefeated, and we were like, this is really great. And there's the cool thing with this Robert Morris program is that there's so many people from those beginning years that are still involved with the program, that still love it. So we went and really, you know, we talked to some interesting people along the way, and so far it's coming together really well.
So who all have you talked to so far?
So we actually went up to Westminster this past weekend. We talked to former offensive coordinator who was with the team as recent as last year, Mike Miller. He actually got his first coaching job as a graduate assistant in 1998. And he is incredibly fond of Coach Walton in terms of the fact that he described to us how he walked in with a resume in hand, put it on the table, and just said, Coach, this is what I love. Football is my passion. I want a chance. And Coach Walton gave him a chance. And Mike Miller, he ended up working for the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Buffalo Bills, the Arizona Cardinals. I mean, just all around a guy who credits his whole career to Joe Walton. And secondly, we went and talked to Miles Russ, who is 4th all-time in terms of rushing yards, and another guy who just incredibly grateful to Joe Walton. Very friendly. Really, I mean, the quote to me that stuck out was, without Joe Walton, there is no Robert Morris football. That was one of the quotes we got from talking to guys so far.
All right, so how much more work do you guys have on the documentary?
We're still at the beginning stages, but we're shooting for a December release. So definitely keep a lookout for that, because, you know, still a lot of people to talk to in terms of this program because of the fact that they were so successful for so long. We're talking 5 straight NEC titles. So we're going to go talk to Chris Shovlin, who, for those of you that aren't familiar, Robert Morris fans are probably familiar. He's the play-by-play voice for basketball and football. But yeah, I mean, it's a lot of good things coming together.
So this isn't the first documentary that you did. You did a documentary last semester on the women's basketball team, What's been the difference between the two?
I think the difference is just, again, current versus past. So when we're working with the women's basketball team, it's, new players, as this is, older guys and older footage. So it's just a whole different endeavor in general.
Okay. So one last question. If you had any other documentary that you could do about Robert Morris sports, what would you do?
Man, that's a tough question. Honestly, if I had to do one more, it would probably be on just the Biscaglias in general. Coach Charlie is the new head coach, and his father was the previous head coach, and they've really turned that program into one of the best at Robert Morris. So I'd love to get the chance to do a whole film on them and their success in that program.
All right, well, Sam, thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. And when we come back from commercial break, Sam and Logan are going to break down the upcoming games and show you the week that was.
They call me Maxie, but I prefer tripod. I was your above-average four-legged homie, and then wham, bam, minivan. Some people pity me. Now that's lame. I still run, fetch, and swim. And the ladies love me. I'm the ultimate wingman. Just don't ask me to high five.
Here at Robert Morris University, we pride ourselves at the experience that our students gain while they're actively learning in the classroom. Some even come back to share that knowledge with new students.
I never dreamed that I'd be back here. I'm having so much fun. I'm doing a lot of what I was trained to do and what I went to school for.
The Colonial Sports Network is a great opportunity for students to learn real job skills in sports programming.
To be able to see what the students want to make of it, because it can be anything that they want.
I love being here, seeing students, seeing myself in the students that work with me, and I'm really blessed to have so much talent to work with. It's really amazing.
To be able to see students become successful after Robert Morris is really cool.
Join the Colonial Sports Network team and expand your future today.
Hey, let's check out this park. Oh, wow, that's really cool. To find a great local park or forest near you, go to discovertheforest.org.
And welcome back to Colonial Sports Center. And Logan, why don't we just jump right into what's coming up this week in RMU athletics?
Of course, Greg, why don't we just go ahead and look at, the upcoming games for RMU. And of course, Saturday, the one that stands out to me, football in Duquesne, Elijah Jackson in the running to be FCS freshman of the year, and that's going to be a big rivalry game for them.
And Logan, I'm not quite sure if this is correct, but we have 2 men's soccer games on Sunday, so that's going to be kind of interesting to see how that pans out. But I don't think that's quite correct. I think one of them is going to be a women's soccer game because they're both away, and there's no way they're going to make from Bowling Green to Fairleigh Dickinson in the 2 hours that they're going to have. So, it's going to be an exciting weekend coming up here in Robert Morris.
It will be, and that's the upcoming games for Robert Morris Colonials. And we like to thank you all for joining us again in another week. I mean, Greg, it's great being back on the show once again.
I love having you here, Logan. We have so much energy together. I think we're pretty good friends, but we're going to come back next week with even more sports for Colonial Sports Center.